Hello, everyone, and welcome to another sit down with African students here at Michigan Technological University, where we sit to talk about our research, our personal lives, and our general experience as African students studying in the United States and Michigan in particular. I'm going to be your host, Frederica Maxine-Driafo, and as we say in Ghana, Akwaba, which means welcome. Stay tuned. For our chat today, we are going to have an interesting conversation with Ms. Monica Nyansa. She is a Ghanaian, a graduate student here at Michigan Technological University, and I must add, she is a brilliant scholar and has a very interesting personality. There's the smile that I know. How have you been? It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years here in Houghton. How have you been? How are you managing with the winter?
Oh, that's surprisingly. Winter is my favorite weather in this place.
Really?
Yep. It gets cold. There's not much you can do. It's Houghton. You already know that. So, but you can go out and you can ski, which I do.
Great.
For fun, so
I can't.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been an amazing 4 years. I can see. I mean, it's been stressful mostly, yeah, but it's been nice. Like there are positive sides to the stress, I would say.
Calm.
I am calm now. I am, but it gets busy. It does. With years, it does. But you find ways to deal with the stress.
So I'm guessing the winter was not a shock to you. What was your cultural shock?
Oh, good question. Okay, so I think my earliest culture shock was how salty or sweet everything, like almost every food is. Like I remember my first time I took a friend to a show at Rosé, and it was an art show. So, and then I tasked him to buy me popcorn, and that was my first time tasting American popcorn actually, and I couldn't believe how salty it was.
Different from what you have back.
Oh yes, like I was really expecting something sugary, like with like colors and stuff like that. Yeah, but it was just too damn salty. I couldn't finish it. I kept it in my fridge, hoping to finish it. I actually did add some sugar. It still didn't work out, so I had to get rid of it one way or the other. So I did. Yeah, so that is my one culture shock. Another one, which I think is beautiful actually, it's how they seem very comfortable telling you their life story when they just like met you.
Yeah.
Like we keep to ourselves. Like for you to talk to somebody, tell them about years of your life and your family and stuff like that, you have to know the person. Yeah. But it's just so easy to open a conversation and just keep talking.
But that must be a shock for you because as Africans we tend to be more communal, right? We tend to live within, family, and we tend to share a lot of things.
Yeah. And
to come here thinking it's a very individualistic space and have people just approach you and talk about their lives.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
The fact that you can just talk, you don't have to find a common ground. You can just talk.
So I guess going to Rosé is a thing that you do a lot?
Something I used to do, not anymore.
Okay, so since you don't go to the Rosé anymore, how do you deal with the pressures of graduate life? Chemistry isn't easy, is it?
I know, right? It has its moments, but yeah. I mean, I think one thing that has really been helpful for me is finding my community of support. Like I call them support system.
Okay.
And it's not just any person in that system. It's people who have an idea what I'm doing right now, and so they really know what goes into it and what it takes from me. So when I pick a phone and I call, they know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you don't even use words, like they can relate. It doesn't take words to say what, for them to hear you say what you want them to listen to. Yeah, so just having people that, you know, like they're just a call away, or they're just like a room away, or somebody to cry to when you need to.
Yeah, and people don't know just how much it takes to be a graduate student, right?
Tell me about it.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned support system, because I have a support system, but it's actually very different from yours. So I'm guessing every graduate student need to find.
Oh, please, yeah. before you lose your sanity, go find your community.
If you don't mind me asking, how did you get into this support system in case somebody who is watching you is going through the stress of being a graduate student? How do you just, you know, tell somebody, you know, just like you said, say your problem to somebody, or there's a special office you need to walk up to here at MTU. How did you find your support system?
I think that's actually a great question, because I think one of the things people really take for granted, or people don't really put a lot of thought into, is how much work graduate school really is. Like, I mean, my experiences from the US system, it might be different like in other countries, but you come and you are supposed to take courses. Whilst taking courses, you are required to teach. I mean, that most of us are on teaching assistantships. So like we have to teach, take courses, and at the same time, try to make time for research. So I'm not even talking about your own personal life. So when does that comes into the story, you know? And that's what I'm talking about, like that, your personal self being like, it's something we don't really sit down to like really consider. Maybe like people do, but I think that is one of the things we really need to sit down and think about. Like once you have an admission, like you're going to graduate, it's a sighting to get your program of study and come to the US and all that. But I think when it comes to support system, I think it's I've heard it being said with mentors. So like, you know, you can't get everything in one person. Okay, like I have best friends, like I have, and each one of them serve a purpose. I'm using the word purpose lightly. I didn't go find them because I needed them to fulfill a need for me. But it's like you just have people for different like part of your life. Like I have somebody that I can call and talk to about my relationship, and I have people I can talk to about money, and then I have people I can talk to about my research work, and they would definitely contribute, like make significant contribution. And then I have people that it's just surface. And they are all important, you know. It's I don't have to talk to them for 4 years or every day of my life. But once I pick the phone and once they call me, like that conversation happens. And that is those people, those individual people, those people come together. And that is what I refer to as my support system. There's like they serve individual, they serve their own different purposes, but they depending on what is going on, you know, like you can count on. It's not just one person that if that person doesn't pick your call, you are in danger. It's just different.
That's some great compartmentalization you have going on there. I must really
I try.
admire you for that. It took me about 2 years to figure that out myself, because I came and I'm a graduate student, so it's all schoolwork for me.
Yep.
In a space of 12 months, I was breaking and had too much. So I needed to find my own space. And African Students Association here in MTU was a great support for me. How did ASO help you out?
Oh, good question.
Because I know you were associate chair.
I was excited to find out about African Students Organization, and it's because you come here and it feels like you are on an island. I'm sorry, it's a good island, but it feels like, like you have to find a way to connect. It's great to meet new people, share new culture. I mean, even within African student organization, that is definitely present because we are all coming all over Africa. So there's definitely that interconnectivity between culture and stuff like that. But like, it's easier, like I would say, within the African Students Organization, because there are like some commonalities, that even though it might still take a while to break certain barriers, like when it comes to communication. Once that barrier is broken, like you realize that this is just another brother or another sister, like just like that. So ASO, I was excited to be part of ASO, and once I got the opportunity to be part and contribute, I showed up. I was excited because I felt like this is what I wish I had when I came to my first year, because I was looking for connections. I was looking for a piece of home, as you said. Like just being able to sit and talk with you, because even if you're coming from, let's say, Zimbabwe, or like, I haven't been to Zimbabwe, I don't know much about Zimbabwe, but we start talking and there's going to be that common place that we can connect, and that is, I think that is amazing. So as I said, it's just being able to meet people and really connect, like through food, through stories. Sometimes you start telling a story and I said the way somebody could connect to the story you're telling, it's amazing. But you haven't been to the place they are coming from, or they haven't been to your place. So that having that community, feeling like you belong, because it doesn't take a lot to feel like you belong. You are literally talking to another person from home. So I would say just that community, being able to, I don't know, pick a phone and call somebody.
You like phones?
I do. I like.
If for nothing at all, you can just start talking about jollof, right?
Ghana jollof. It's still the best, by the way.
Just in case you don't know what jollof is, that thing that bonds almost all Africans, and that thing that we don't agree. But I know Ghana jollof is the best. I know my Nigerian brothers will come for me, my Senegalese brothers will come for me, brothers and sisters will come for me, but it's still Ghana jollof. Mm-hmm. Right, Monica?
Yes, please. Any day.
Right. So let's go to your time as the social chair of ASO.
Fun time.
You were, yes, fun time.
Yep.
You were phenomenal, right? How did you manage being a social chair for ASO? And ASO during your time had a lot of fun activity. It was vibrant. There was just so much to look forward to, right, within the semester, and still be able to juggle being that fine scholar that you are, because you really are one fine scholar.
Thanks for the compliment.
And I remember I was just new first year, trying to find my way, and I must say your activities, your programs did make ASO very enjoyable. And from there you became the vice president, right? Yes. And I don't think it was easy. You made it look easy. So how do you juggle being, the social chair, the vice president of our organization, and still be able to be a fine scholar and keep up with your schoolwork? What's the secret?
No, there is no secret. It's just showing up and having a very committed team. That is one thing I will say. And I really hope that is one thing ASO keeps getting. It takes a committed team to make things happen. Everyone was ready to show up when you needed them to show up. Everyone knew what they was there to do, and when it was time, they knew what they were supposed to do. So that really did help, because then it's not just one person doing all the different jobs. this is you find your team, go work. That is how we made it work. So even though I was the social chair, I had people who were supporting the initiatives and making sure all those events you said were enjoyable, which I think they were really, those were fun times, by the way. ASO was nice. I mean, it's still nice, but that period of time, like it was
it's taking a while
to come back, and I'm looking forward to ASO coming back, really. But it takes a committed team, like, yeah, because it's you can do it all. That's why it's an organization, it's a community, so you have to find a way to let people contribute, like just people are willing to help. Sometimes, I'm just gonna say this, sometimes it's easy to dismiss people based on your previous experience with other people. So just because you got to work with one team that weren't committed enough or they didn't really seem interested doesn't mean that is going to be the status quo. Like that is not the standard. You give people a chance. You meet new people, you're working with them, give them a chance. Don't write them off based on your previous experience. So just be open-minded and find a way to make people contribute. Let people feel like they are part of this, and they will show up. It's not about Africans are this, Africans are that. No, it's the same Africans that we worked with during our time, and they showed up. People were excited to show up for general meetings.
Yeah.
People were ready to go for events to just that community, to still have that community. So it's not. So those generalizations hurt sometimes. Like Africans don't show up the time, things on time, or they are always busy, or they don't. No, just keep an open mind, open it up, let people feel like they can contribute, and you don't have to do all the work yourself. You can still find time to do your research and still show up for ASO.
That's a very good piece of advice.
I'm glad.
I'm
glad.
I'm hoping that the new executives will, take that advice and get people to work and have them lead. I think that's very important. But as leaders, you tend to think that you need to do all the work yourself. Like there are people who are ready to show up if you just give them that benefit of the doubt, that trust, and then give them working. That's interesting. But we didn't quite catch it. How did you get into ASO? How did you hear about it? Did you hear about it before coming? Was it when you came, or somebody just was like, nice, Monica, I am an African here, and this is a great organization to be in. How did you hear about ASO?
Yeah, that's interesting. Thinking about it now, I didn't hear about ASO before coming, but I had a roommate who was Ghanaian, and so she was already part of ASO, and so. Whoa, Nancy. Nancy HR from Pod. Yep, that was my roommate. A really, really, really nice human. So she introduced me to ASO, and that's pretty much my story. There's nothing more to it. Just meeting people, going to grocery shopping together, and then started attending events. I was like, wow, this is great.
Monica, I have a couple of questions for you before we round up for today. I know I've been going on about how fine of a scholar you are. Can you just spend a few minutes to tell us about your research? What got you interested in it in the first place? Chemistry is something that I'm really a novice. I know nothing.
Okay. Yeah. So, I'm currently working on my research is in chemical biology, and basically what that means is just using chemistry or chemical methods to sort of answer biological questions, to probe biological systems. Okay. So specifically what I do for my research is my supervisor's lab is interested in finding out how sugars, so you all know sugars, like how sugars get transported into the cell, into our body. Like in our body, you need the sugar to get into the cell so that it can use it to make energy, so that we can still move and all that. Okay, and what takes the sugar from one place and make it cross the cell? It's been found that in diseases such as cancer, they change like how they behave, because in cancer, for example, there's like increased growth, there's more activity there, so they need more of those transporters, that's what they are called, to make that transport of the sugar. Yeah, so we are interested in like making compounds, so that's where the chemistry comes in, making compounds that can specifically go to those transporters and then tell us more about those changes, like during those the changes during the disease changes when the changes are happening, like in those disease states like cancer and diabetes and all that. So like that is pretty much what I do.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, that is what I do.
That's fascinating, and I would like to think that I understand everything, but I do hear sugar, and that's like a warning sign for me to cut down my sugar, right? Unless you tell me that is good, I can have a bit of sugar here and there in my cocoa and my oats.
I mean, there is a limit to everything.
There is a limit, right? I mean, we can go on and on, but our time is fast running out. But I have one question to ask, and that is something that you need to leave people with, right? What advice will you give to someone, an African student, specifically a female, a woman, right? Our gender, who decides to pursue, graduate degree in the US and, anywhere for that matter? What would be that one thing that you wish they knew, that one thing that they keep in mind before they make the step?
I mean, before I give this, my piece of advice to you, I would like to give a warning before the advice, and that is, just because something worked for somebody doesn't mean it would work for you, even if you took all the steps they took and all that. So take every advice with a bit of salt. How did he say that? Okay, with a bit of salt, okay? So now my advice, it's your life. It's a cliche, as I've grown into adulthood, and I'm really enjoying adulthood, yeah. It's almost everything I thought was a cliche in my 20s is actually really true. It's your life. So at a point, you have to decide for yourself, when you are going to be making your own decisions. Your family, they love you, you love them. Your friends, they will do anything for you. But sometimes, just sometimes, you really have to put yourself first. You have to look at what really is the end goal for you here. I don't know, sometimes it's gonna destroy relationships, but then again, it goes back to what really is important to you. So that is what I'm going to end my interview with. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thanks for passing through. It's been an interesting conversation. We spent over an hour chatting with Miss Monica. She's had interesting and insightful things to share with us about her stay here as an African and a graduate student in MTU. I hope you've learned a lot, and let's meet again another time. Medase. That is a Twi word for thank you. See you. Bye.